Now, as promised, we have an action-packed show for you. India and Pakistan are set to face each other and fans are waiting for the big match. So let me now introduce my colleagues on this broadcast. Joining me now is our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik from Islamabad. And here in studio with me is our sports editor Digvijay Singh Deo, along with a very special guest, former New Zealand cricketer Chris Harris. Welcome everyone. Chris, I want to start by asking you, we're all familiar here with the rivalry between India and Pakistan. Whenever there is a match between the two, adrenaline is riding high, there is patriotism. And now, as a neutral party watching on, how do you view this?
Oh, exactly the same as you. It's such a huge contest. The Indian versus Pakistan matches, even over this part of the world, are always watched with so much interest. And it's just to see which side handles the pressure so much, because we understand how much is at stake, and it's so easy for, like we heard Rohit Sharma there talking about just doing the processes, but it's so hard to handle that big stage. So I'm really looking forward to that. The amazing Pakistan bowling lineup, bowling to the top order of India, that's always a contest that I look forward to. And I just hope the weather holds, because there is some talk of rain, and that would just be absolutely awful. So the first one day in 4 years, can't wait for it to start.
Right. You know, as we look forward to the match, fans are eagerly waiting for the match to kick off. But the big question is, will we get a good game, or will rain ruin it all for us?
Well, you really hope that rain doesn't interfere, because rain doesn't go well with cricket. So fingers crossed, we're all hoping for a full game, because I think it's going to be a great contest. As we said, they haven't played each other in 4 years. And leading up to such a big tournament with the World Cup, there's certainly a lot to play for, and both sides will be desperate to win. You know, Pakistan currently the #1 side in the world, and I'm sure India would like to knock them off that pedestal. So much to play for, and positions as well. That 4 and 5 position for India has by no means been settled. With Rahul injured, you got Iron, Samson, Kishan as well. So much for so many to play for, with a big tournament just around the corner.
Right. Chris, stay with us on this broadcast. We'll come back to you and we'll talk more cricket. For now, let's go to our correspondent Dasani Athara. She'll get us a report from right outside the stadium where the match is about to kick off. Take a look. I'm right outside the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium, where the signature battle between India and Pakistan is all set to get underway at 3 p.m. Sri Lankan time, which is just a few hours away. The fans from both countries are steadily coming in and walking in through the gates. As of the weather right now, we are experiencing a very, very slight drizzle. However, officials do remain positive that a full day's play is still possible. Stay with WION as I bring you the very latest right from here, Kandy. Reporting for WION World is One, I'm Dasani Athara. Right, now we still have Chris Harris here with us on this broadcast. Now let's go over to our sports editor Digvijay Singh Deo and talk all things cricket.
Yes, sorry Anas, I'm keeping you waiting for a while, but we have Chris here, so we should just get some cricketing questions out of the way first. Chris, Pakistan, you mentioned when you were talking to Priyanka, you mentioned about Pakistan being the #1 side in the world. They've been in Sri Lanka for a while. They had a big victory in this tournament, even though that was in Multan. India haven't played together as a full team, which the names you mentioned, Jasprit Bumrah coming back as well. Do you get a feeling India are a bit undercooked heading into a high-pressure game like this?
Oh, slightly. In a perfect world, they would have loved to have played a little bit more cricket in the conditions they're going to come up against. But, you know, it's a class act, and this Indian side is full of experience. And these players have played in Sri Lanka before, so they have experienced these conditions. But you'd have to say that Pakistan, having already played a couple of games, have got a little bit of an advantage. But as I said, there'll be a lot of Indian players that have got lots of points to prove, especially in that 4 and 5 position. I think Ira might get a chance today, but you got Samson in the background, as well as Kishan as well. So so much for so many to play for. But for me, Pakistan, slight advantage because they have played in the conditions. And as you said, India are going in cold. But we know how much of a massive contest this is.
Yes, you know, I was trying to say at the beginning what Priyanka was saying. You know, you're supposed to be neutral. So I'm going to just slip in one more question. Pakistan already announced their playing 11 last evening. Is that a statement of intent? Is that a message to India that you bother about your combinations? We know what's our best combinations. We're ready to go. Sort of mind games happening there?
I think so. I think they're just showing that they're organised. They know exactly, they've got the plans in place and they know the side they want to play. I would imagine in their minds they've picked their strongest side because they know how tough a game this is going to be. So they just want to give the players plenty of time to plan and be ready. You know, we saw a wonderful 100 from Babar Azam, so they'd really want the top order to fire because you can't always rely on your middle order to get you out of trouble. So yeah, I just can't wait for this to start. If I can't get it and watch it, I'm telling you, I'm going to live stream it myself because everyone talks about how much of a big occasion it is over there. But trust me, all of the cricket loving nations around the world know how much of a big contest this is and can't wait. As we said, it's the first game in 4 years. So it really is a big occasion.
When you talk about the big occasion, Chris, there's a World Cup as well. You know, there's a World Cup in a month and 3 days from now. These two teams will face each other in Ahmedabad as well. But we've seen India-Pakistan games over the years. India learning how to separate the hype from the occasion. Is that something in India's favour? Is that something you think Pakistan have to learn to adjust to? Because you know how Pakistan cricket always has been. It's that passion, it's about being mercurial. India much more solid. They look at the larger picture, not at the opening game of a tournament like this.
Yeah, you make a great point. If I look over the history, and particularly in the times that I've watched India play Pakistan, and generally they've been all in pretty big occasions, and even if it's not, you know, a trophy on the line, it's still such a big match. And you make a good point. I would think in the time that I've watched, which is over a number of sort of 20 or 30 years, you'd have to feel as though India, more often than not, have come out on top.
I'm going next.
It's just as though they've handled the pressure a little bit more. But this Pakistan side, for me, has got some good experience. They've got good top order. They've got a wonderful bowling attack. So if there's one Pakistan side that you want to be consistent, I think this is the side that could bring that. So I think they'll also go on with confidence. So I'm sure they'll be looking to even up the history books.
Okay. When you talk about evening up the history books, one has to go back, in fact, to the 2017 ICC Champions Trophy final, where you were here with us in this very studio where Priyanka and I are now here. But Chris, there's this talk about rain. We're waiting to see how that affects the game. But because you were somebody who bowled seam up, how does that change the way teams approach this match? India have Siraj, India have Bumrah who can make that ball talk. Pakistan have Shaheen Shah Afridi, they have Haris Rauf, they have that exciting young kid as well. How does the conditions suit the bowlers? Because let's not forget, both teams bat top heavy. Top 3, top 4 crucial for India. Top 3, top 4 crucial for Pakistan. You knock them over early, you're struggling then.
Absolutely. Well, the good news is that we heard from the reporter who's at the stadium live that it's only light drizzle. In my experience in Sri Lanka, generally it absolutely pours down, then you're in trouble. So if it's light drizzle and the locals are saying that it'll disappear, that's great news. So the disadvantage for the bowlers, if you get a little bit of moisture on the surface and the ball gets wet, 1, you can't get reverse swing. 2, it's very, very hard to hold. So it's quite difficult for the seamers. So they'll find it difficult as the ball gets a little bit softer and gets a little bit of moisture on it. So it's going to very much play in the favours of both batting teams. So if there's any moisture around and the ball gets wet, it's going to suit the batters more than the bowlers. It's just going to make it a real challenge for the bowlers. So let's hope that rain stays away, it stays dry, and it's fair for batters and bowlers, and we have a great contest.
Well, that rain doesn't ruin play. That's our hope as well. All the fans waiting eagerly to watch the match. Let's go over to our Pakistan Bureau Chief, Anas Malik now. Anas, sorry to keep you waiting. You tell us, what's the mood like in Pakistan? We have seen a rather show of confidence. They've announced they're playing 11. Tell us more about what's happening in the country.
Well, there seems to be this excitement that's palpable. The players are ready, the fans are ready. I'm standing at one such locations here in Islamabad, where what you see behind me is a big screen that has been set up. The temperatures are soaring up. It's literally as well. It's right now 35 degrees with a feel of 39 degrees here in Islamabad, and we expect people to pour out. Different screens have been set up, like screens like these have been set up across the city. But to the first part of your question, yes, there seems to be this semblance of confidence or a statement that Babar Azam and the team management has given by announcing the team just almost 24 hours prior to the game. They've got a solid bowling attack, 3 fast bowlers, 2 spinners, and then the middle order is something that has been debated upon here within the cricket pundits and the analysts, and broadly within former players as well, with one replacement that a lot of people have been backing, that Salman Ali Agha could have been replaced by Saud Shakil, who has a better ability to play spin. But that being said, the team management and the captain is the better judge, and it is his call which team and what team he gets to play. Priyanka.
Right, Anas, thanks for those updates. And finally, we have our correspondent Dasuni Athora, who's joining us right from the heart of the action. She's outside the Pellekele Stadium. Dasuni, I have to ask you this question, and I can't believe I'm asking this question on air. How is the weather?
Well, I'm sorry to sort of rain on you today. Experiencing a very, very slight drizzle. So that is the latest as of right now. We have been experiencing this sort of steady flow of drizzle for about 1 to 1.5 hours. That's the latest, Priyanka.
The mood outside the stadium as well. This, of course, is a highly anticipated match at a rather neutral venue. How are the Sri Lankans taking to it? We know that they've had an economic crisis and they're now hosting a big match.
Absolutely, this is one of those matches that any cricket fan, be it Indian, be it Sri Lankan, be it Pakistani, we want to really get that experience by watching it live, which is why there were special measures in place, especially over the past few days, where tickets were given at very concessionary prices, especially targeting the Sri Lankan fans. And when we did walk through these ticketing counters and we spoke to officials, we did get to know that a lot of Sri Lankan support is coming in, especially with these special discounted and special offers for tickets, which is why a lot of Sri Lankans have now bought tickets as well, and they're also walking in to this stadium.
Thanks, Dasini, for all those updates. Let's come back to the studio to you, Chris. I have to ask you, as somebody who is excited to watch the game, what's your prediction?
Oh, that's a tough call. It literally is a game that stops 2 nations, and there is so much at stake. For me, in a big India-Pakistan match, I'd say India are slight favourites, but I think Pakistan, for me, I really like the side that they've picked. And because they've played a couple of games in Sri Lanka, I think India need to be very careful because they're going to be very, very dangerous. So it's going to be a great contest. I just hope the best team on the day wins.
Right, absolutely. Digvijay, if I had to ask you as well, what are the strengths and weaknesses of each team?
Well, you know, I think, as Krish mentioned, Pakistan have been in Sri Lanka for the last 2 months. They played a test series. Babar Azam in great form, the captain, scored 151 in the last game. He's also played the Lanka Premier League. So they're used to the conditions. India just arrived in Sri Lanka a couple of days ago. But what is in India's favour is they've always learnt to play the situation. They've never got sort of overawed by the hype. And I think that's why when India and Pakistan play these high-pressure clashes at the World Cups or the other global events, it's always India invariably who sort of get over the line. I think for India, the larger picture is the World Cup at home. We heard Rohit Sharma say that it doesn't matter to us that it's an India-Pakistan game. I expect them to go out there trying to execute their plans, looking at the larger picture. Even if India lose, it's not going to make a difference because they're looking at what they need to do at the World Cup. Shreyas Iyer coming back at number 4. He's been injured for a while. KL Rahul, the other important player, still not fit. And remember, Ishan Kishan gets to play because KL Rahul is injured, so he's the designated wicketkeeper. I'm trying to see where they're going to slot him in that batting order. Does Ishan Kishan open where he is supposed to do very well? Do they drop Shubman Gill, who's been very good for India? Do they drop him down the order? And I'm really hoping to see how Jasprit Bumrah bowls a full quota of 10 overs because he's not played ODI cricket for 11 months. And if India have to do well at the home World Cup, they need him. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at battles within the battles. I'm not looking at the larger game. As Chris said, I hope from coverage point of view that we get a good game so we can keep having these conversations.
Absolutely.
And I don't want a one-sided game.
Right, Chris, I want to take the same question from you and ask you another one on the side. Any particular player that you're looking forward to watch today from either side?
There's so many class players to watch, but I think Diggy touched on it. Boomerang, I'm looking to see how he responds after sort of being injured for a little while. And you've got Ira as well, who's coming into that crucial number 4 position, who's coming back from injury as well. So I'm really always interested to see how players respond from injury. So from an Indian point of view, and also, you know, the top orders under a little bit of pressure, Sharma and Gill, love watching them bat. And from a Pakistan point of view, just really looking to see that middle order. Agra, love watching the seamers, Afridi, Harris, Ralph. So yeah, really looking forward to watching that battle. The seam attack from Pakistan bowling to that top order of India. I don't think there's any better contest.
Right, Chris, thank you so much for all those insights, and thank you, Digvijay Singh, our sports editor, for joining us on this special broadcast. Now, before we wrap up, we'll only say this: we have to pray to the rain gods to be kind to us so that we can enjoy a good match. Thanks for watching WION World is One with me, Priyanka Sharma. Stay tuned. Global News continues on the other side. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.